Hi guys, welcome back to Power and Poise. We're taking back your power and staying poised is the new trend, okay? And we are wrapping up this Black History Month. Yeah, I know we're in March, but we already know I say every day is Black History Month, okay? So we're wrapping this up. And as you guys see, we have a guest and we're back in the pod room. We're in the pod room.
Yeah.
So, Monte, please tell us about yourself because y'all know I'm real picky about guests. So he must be doing something that I was like, okay, you got to come on.
For sure. My name is Monte, a.k.a. Taste Move. You already know. And I'm a content creator, actor. You know what I'm saying? I do my thing, and I love to do it every day. So just to get up, stay motivated to do it, it's real progress. And to have supporters that see that is amazing, too, because you also see what I'm doing, too. So you love that, and you have me on the podcast right now. So that's amazing steps.
Yeah, it's a hustle out here. You know, on this pod, we've had episodes that specifically talked about being Black in academia, specifically talked about being Black and entering in, obviously on my spectrum, I say more of influencing space, but it is just still influencing. Like Black culture, although it's all around us, it's crazy how we still have to find ways to maneuver.
Absolutely.
And be the influence when it's like, we're the blueprint.
Yeah.
Point blank period. This is no bias. This is no... maybe. No, it's true.
It is.
So it's like to feel like you have to kind of like navigate or fight for support is so surreal at times because it's like, but you're going to still copy what I do anyway.
Absolutely. And I honestly and truly growing up, when we were coming up in academics and grade school and stuff like that, having that chip on your shoulder and having Black excellence in your household to empower you to even get up in the morning to do the things that you need to do. Also just, it's a big culture shock too, because you're going to school. You might go to school in a predominantly white school or predominantly, you know what I'm saying, another ethnic race. And to still be able to shine through all of that
Come on.
is amazing. And it's a blessing too. And it can be a curse, but we look at the blessings at all times because
Come on.
being Black, it's a privilege, let me tell you that.
We are literally the gods and goddesses, the pharaohs. They try to erase, right? They're trying to erase everything we built. But point blank period, the foundation of African spirituality is everything we're seeing integrated in self-work practices, manifestation, just everything positive that's helping you become a better person. You see that in African spirituality, and you see that in African psychology. And you guys may wonder, okay, why we start off hard hitting like that? Because this is all we are talking about this episode. If you guys have not watched Stamped from the Beginning, this episode is going to be a bit of a deep dive in a lot of the things that they talked about in Stamped from the Beginning, as well as us relating it to just culturally now what we're seeing and what we're feeling and how history is repeating itself.
Right.
Now, backstory on why I chose this episode topic as well as this movie for us to talk about is when I first met him, we were talking about the 13th, and I was telling him about the 13th, which is also another movie you should watch on Netflix right after Stamped from the Beginning, and just talking about the incarceration rates of just Black and brown people, as well as the root of slavery being the root of that, and that's how we got incarceration, and it's modern day slavery. So us having that conversation, I was like,
right,
let's lead it back to this, because Stamped from the Beginning is exactly what it says. Stamped from the Beginning. It tells us how we started off.
And even going forward, I would even say just to the opening of the movie itself was already inspiring, because we had multiple Black females up there talking about how we came about and how our origin story as a collective, not just individually, but as a collective. So it was moving, because you go back in time, it's heavy hitting already, but you go back to them 1770s when Phillis, she was out there.
Come on.
And she was writing poetry, doing art. That was unheard of. And that moved me because I do art. She does art. And for her to even get testified against, and they have to come together just to come up with a decision like, oh, she
Did you
shouldn't
really
be doing
write
this.
that?
Yeah, she
Did you
shouldn't
really
even
write?
be doing it.
And we're gonna dive strictly into that because y'all know, if you listening, if you watching, I have talked about my Phillis Wheatley moment almost probably at least every other episode, which argumentatively can be the foundation of this podcast. Even as I'm writing my statements to these prestigious, predominantly, white institutions, it's like, okay, how can I not be too black, but also show my intelligence and say that I'm still black, which that's what we seen with Phillis Wheatley and we seen with other people. But we're going to hit that at the end. But let's talk about the connection between racism and the power structure, right? So let's just first start it off. When you seen Bacon's Rebellion, what was your thought? Because that really took me back, because you have no clue. And I was talking, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you answer. I was talking to my white friend. She's so cool. She's love her down. And I was telling her about Bacon's Rebellion. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna look it up. Not that she didn't believe me, but she wanted to see what was on the internet. Y'all, when I tell you nothing but Wikipedia, everybody was like, oh, this was just a rebellion for tobacco liquor.
Honestly and truly, even to just say this, they dump all of that stuff in our neighborhoods and stuff to kill us in general. So the rebellion is more so about us and being able to have a strong will and a strong mind to even pull away from what they're trying to steer us towards, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's empowering to have these type of moments, because in the rebellion, it wasn't easy. You can see that from off the rip. They were struggling badly. And for the ones that did get away, or to even turn their back towards everything and just to go on with their lives, was
crazy,
insane. And I honestly thought, why would they go ahead and do this to us when knowing that they were just gonna kill us in the end anyway? So, and why do you have the upper hand against us? You know what I'm saying?
And exactly what you're saying, and I think the most nastiest thing about Bacon's Rebellion is the fact that they're trying to gloss over that. First of all, we're going to be referring to slaves, as people like to say. When we talk about marginalized black slaves, we are saying enslaved. They did not choose. They were enslaved. They were imported, and they were priced at more value because you can identify them easier. You know how much of a mind bend that is? Like, yeah, you're going to cost more because you have a deeper skin tone. It's easier to pick you out the bunch. What? That's crazy.
Come on now.
And with Bacon's Rebellion, we've seen how the enslaved slaves, are the black slaves, came together with the actual other European slaves, and they revolted. But guess what? They didn't like that.
Nah, they didn't.
They didn't like the unity. They don't like how powerful we are when we put our differences aside and we come together and actually be something,
right,
because it was so powerful. So what did they do? Of course, they give the European slaves a little more pull and a little more give, so they can, kind of work their way out of slavery.
Yeah. And
back to what I said, how there's easier to pick out enslaved slaves. They don't give us that option.
And honestly and truly, if you even go even further back, once they figured out that we're the pinnacle to even be enslaved, pushed everything forward, because they knew, oh, these people over here, they come with this and this, and versus the white people, they lack in everything else that we have strengths in. So to go even further towards the rebellion, they know our value. They're not gonna devalue us in any type of way, because they know what we're worth. And with the pull that the other side has as white people, they give them just little anemones to add on to everything that they need. You know what I'm saying?
Incentives.
They're not really they're with us, but they're not really with us, if you get what I'm saying. It's one of those if you know things.
And this conversation is really hard to have in modern times because we see it happen so much now. So this is not as if we're just talking about a film. We're talking about reality. So it gets hard to address these things and not circle it back to the root or the end or what's happening now or what we're seeing in influencer culture, what we're seeing in celebrity culture, what we're seeing in beauty culture, because they're all so introspected. They're all interdisciplinary. They're all intercepting through each other. And the fact that they constantly try to brush over this history and sweep it under the rug that they have so successfully done is absolutely crazy. And we see it in our society. And we see it in the way of being young Black people in academia. Point blank here, being young Black professionals. We see how these things have deeply integrated even education.
For sure.
We see how we have to sit up a little bit more straight in class. We have to speak a bit more proper. We have to hold ourselves to a different account than our counterparts because it's so ingrained of this white people are better, Black people aren't. You're ignorant if you speak this way. It's distasteful for you to be this way. It's,
right.
All of these negative associations that come with being Black that was labeled from the beginning of time that had everything to do with our power. Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
Because there was so much lack within them. They had to literally magnify all of their limiting things onto us because that's what they were lacking.
And to even piggyback off of that, to even start with school, I'm going to start with grade school. If you go into these schools, and especially now in current 2025, these kids aren't learning anything.
At all.
And honestly, and the curriculum, let's start there too. What are they teaching us that's helping us better ourselves in our society today? Nothing. They're not teaching us nothing. And all they're teaching us how to do is, not even how to do. All they're teaching us in this society right now is all of these figures that they constantly remind us of, but the figures that still had people enslaved at the same time. So it's like, how can I follow the same type of curriculum that you're teaching me in real life, everyday stuff? Is all made by Black people in general. So you're telling me non-important stuff, you're teaching me non-important stuff, and then you're also teaching me about a culture
was based off of my ancestors back.
Yes.
And I will be having Dr. Hall on this podcast, my mentor, and she is a part of ABP-Psi, the Association of Black Psychologists, which I am a part of as well. And she will definitely be diving deep into the negative things that they try to perpetuate of Black communities, right? And biggest example of what you're saying, Thomas Jefferson, okay? Let's get into Abraham Lincoln because Abraham Lincoln is the pinnacle of what he is speaking about. Abraham Lincoln is someone that we are meant to cherish and clap for. Oh my gosh, you made us free. But in actual reality, y'all, Abraham Lincoln wanted us because he knew the power of actual working, right? He knew the power of actual labor. He knew the power in numbers of laborers. So he didn't really respect Black people. He didn't really want equality. What he wanted was equal amounts of workers and laborers. He's seen the value in workers and not having them connect to somebody else. And this is once again how our government was formed.
And it's sad.
If you're think about it, y'all, I want us to all put our thinking caps on. Think about it in Abraham Lincoln's mind. Okay, why would I have these slaves work for one person and they profit off of it when I could free them all and I could make a system and make a way for them to work for us and work for the government and bring money back to us? And it's not in a way of anything we're saying to come off as attacking or rude or diminishing history or being disrespectful to, the people who have oppressed us, but you have oppressed us, okay? You have done so much to bring us down, squish us down, but then on the same token of time, you want us to turn around and shake your hand and say thank you. What am I saying thank you for? Because frankly, you see Haiti. Haiti, we understand that they have their own things going on. That's the first Black country, fully Black. We seen in the movie following, we're moving to the middle of the movie now, y'all. When Black people got themselves together and they built community and they built banks, they built shops, everything. Didn't like that, burned us down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, anytime we're doing good and we're doing positive and we're countering this negative narrative that you forced on us that we didn't even prove, you just forced it on us.
Right.
You don't like that.
At all. And one of our not even one of our founders, but one of our most prized activists, Malcolm X, was saying, who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you how to do that? Who taught you how to hate the color of your skin and to bleach it to please the white man? Who taught you to do that? Because it's not in our nature to do that. It's not. But because we have to code switch in modern day and just to get ahead in life, it becomes a norm, if you get what I'm saying. And right now, as we speak out, and shout out to all the fallen soldiers that we've lost over the years, like George Floyd. Are you serious right now? And then it took us till 2020 to actually get on board with fighting for Black power. Why is that just a recent thing? We should have been doing that in our communities. We should have been uplifting our communities after the Black Panthers. And honestly and truly, the movie Stamped, it shows you more reason why you should be doing it. And we're not just telling you this for the benefit of our health. We're telling you this because we need to see our Black people grow as a community and not keep fighting each other.
And this goes back to the African teaching of Sankofa. And the logo for this, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put it in the center of us. It's an egg inside of a bird, and it's turned its head to the back. And its basic purpose and meaning is to feed for future generations. So if we're living in the purpose of Sankofa, and another African value is Ubuntu, I am because you are. So if we're living in those teachings, we're understanding that, okay, not only I'm not going to disrespect you because I'm not going to want to be disrespected, but if we're living in the true meaning of Sankofa, we're giving back to future communities. We're making sure we're nourishing them. We're making sure we're pouring into them. We're making sure we're giving them knowledge. And with all that comes with giving the proper history. So these conversations need to happen so we can constantly pour into our youth, into these future generations, because knowledge is wealth, one.
Absolutely.
And two, understanding that this is not just a Black Lives Matter or it's me versus you. This is a unity thing. Nobody wins when the family feuds, but we don't understand that we are all family. And yes, we might have our own we might disagree with each other and we might not be so close and we're not going to relate culturally to everyone, but in the sense of actual communal spirit,
right,
we are all supposed to be together in unity. And we've seen that with Bacon's Rebellion. It was very powerful when the enslaved and the European slaves came together, and there's other moments like that. There are some powerful Black figures and Black activists that I should for sure be able to tell you off the top of my head, but at this moment in time, I am brain farting. But there are several activists that were able to connect the Black community and the white community together, and then they were targeted. They were killed. Most of these people were a part of Black Panther. Most of these people, fled out of the States to get away from being killed. And it's like, you're putting all of this energy to stop us from coming together. But yet African teachings aren't respected in a lot of practices. People think Black Lives Matter is, Black Lives Matter, your life don't matter. They think all of these teachings are pitting us against each other, but it's like, wait, that's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think, that all of these teachings and all of these practices and this way of life is pitting you against each other because we don't have the same cultural background. But the actual reality of it is, it's a paradox because it does the complete opposite. It does the complete opposite. It's so contradictory, but at the same time, it makes sense.
They do.
It's no different between, if I'm saying in Ubuntu, I am because you are, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you come from. I can still respect you, but then also looking at my brother, okay, I am because you are, I respect you. I know where you come from. I see your power. I see your worth. But being able to do that through all sectors and all cultures, that's the true power. And that's what they're scared of.
And honestly and truly, D, if you really, really think about it, you know who gave us all of the ethnic names that we all have? Like, it's white people.
Yep, and that's another, I'm happy you brought that up as well, because that's another aspect of African names were for power, like Kunta Kinte. People make fun of that. That was always a joke you heard in middle school if you were dark skinned, but that meant power. That was power.
Yeah.
Like, African names have such a powerful rooting because they are tied back to a powerful meaning. And having these names that, you know, Sally, just these, I'm not even getting into names because I always say the same names, but you know, having these, you know, very cultural normative names also robs us from our culture as well and takes us away from having our African roots. And you don't have to, let's take a pin. A lot of people think when you talk about African roots, it's like, oh my God, the huts. If y'all go overseas, they lit.
Masa, I'm Ghanaian and I can tell you that's not true. That's false
They're lit
accusation.
over there, okay? Those power and wealth. There ain't no huts.
None.
For real.
There's barely any. They're all cities. It's just like the United States. But we have, like, over there, it's more of like enriched cities because they're all culturally built off of each other. They know each other's worth. They know each other's power. They just need the funds. That's all they need. And when they need people like us to go over there and to give them a blueprint to start something new. That's what they need over there. And I'm sorry, not even to cut you off. What I actually meant, because people are gonna be lost of what I mean by white people gave us the ethnic names. I mean like the cultural names, like meaning like Hispanic.
Oh, yep. Thank
Black,
you for bringing that up.
African
Yes.
American.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
they gave us our
Native
cultural
American,
structure. Our racial, there's no such thing as race.
None.
Race is a construct. Oh my God, I'm so happy you brought that up. Yes, race is a construct. Everyone repeat after me. Race is a construct. There's no such thing as black. There's no such thing as you have your cultural root.
Absolutely.
But there's no such thing as said race. Because if you guys understand as well, when the enslaved slaves were brought over, right, they came from all around.
All around.
But then they got forced into just a category of black.
People think they just made one stop. They made multiple stops to different islands. And that's when people started going into depth about how they want to, you know what I'm saying, live their life. He ain't just stop in the U.S. He ain't just stop in Cape Verde. They ain't just stop in all these different places out here. Like,
they traveled, all right, and I know we're giving you guys a lot, right, but you have to understand that this is an impossible.
Yes.
This is an impossible conversation to have because there is so much more to learn. Like, even when I'm in my African American psychology class and when I took trauma in the Black community, I'm like, whoa. That you think you know and you don't. There's always more for you to know. There's always activists you can learn about. There's always psychologists you can learn about. There's also doctors there's so many domains that are so black founded that are not spoken about.
Yeah, like just like the 5% nation. That's one in the 12 meanings. Like I could tell you one of them right now is knowledge. That's the math for today. And having knowledge is also having black power too. So if you guys want to get it, if you guys have a chance, look that up. The 5% nation and the 12 meanings is very empowering. Each word brings you a different sense of life and a different point of view of life. And that's just an example of all the cultural teachings that we can learn in everyday life. For real.
And it's real, and what we're doing right now at times can feel as if it's a thank you job, a thankless job of, knowing this black knowledge and continuously pushing ourselves to make sure we're knowledgeable and we're pushing, this true knowledge out. This isn't bias, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of people, white man's guilt is based off of them wanting everyone to think this is bias and them not wanting to take accountability. You ever been around someone who was white or someone's like, oh, well, I wasn't the one who created slavery. I wasn't the one who had a slave. White man's guilt, because no one is ready to take accountability for what has happened. So since no one's ready to take accountability, everyone's pointing the fingers, right? And
I hate that we're being forced to do it.
yeah, and I'm saying this is such a hard conversation because we are being forced because it comes from us. If we don't say these things, if we don't have these conversations, if we don't speak up and we don't make those rooms uncomfortable, whether it's standing in ourself in totality, being representing our culture in totality, being ourself fully in totality. I have to say that twice because you don't have to change yourself for anyone. You don't have to. Code switching is the highest level of intelligence, but it's not what you think. I'm not saying go to a room and like just being yourself, but knowing how to navigate rooms is true code switching. And just being so strong in your word and in your voice is what we're forced to do right now, or it's going to get silenced.
In 2025, as we speak, the ways of them pushing us down, you would never think that they're doing that in our society. Honestly, let's go ahead and start with the 401ks. A lot of our families aren't going to get those anymore, and for a good reason too. But because we don't have the knowledge on what to do when we're working these jobs and how to get the most beneficial stuff out of it, and we don't ask questions, we just do what we need to do.
Yep.
It leaves us empty-handed.
Yep.
Just as we came in. Why have our people been working for 40 or 50 years of their hard, natural born life to not be given anything in return?
Yep. And like we're going to keep saying, it's impossible to have this conversation because this is happening now. Understanding that you need to read the fine print of everything. We all fall short of that in some way, somehow, because there's always a way. Okay, even this, for an example, might be controversy. People might not like that I say this. A statement that I don't like that relates exactly what you're saying is everyone's like, we need to tax the rich. Let's wait. Because the thing about it is, it's not the issue of the rich. It's the issue of their knowledge.
Exactly.
They just know how to work the system. Now, there are wealthy Black people that know how to work the system and that are in everyday life, right? You can be wealthy. You can be well off, but it's like cheating the system with the 401ks. It's understanding you should not be having a big tax return because you just gave the government hella interest-free money and they've been taking your money interest with your credit cards, with your student loans, with your everything. You know, all of these small things about just having knowledge is really the issue here. And that's the baseline of what you're saying. There's a lot going on in our society right now that we're just lacking the knowledge of. And it's not our fault. We were robbed.
Yeah.
We were robbed of actual thorough knowledge, but it is up to us to force ourselves to have that knowledge.
That one. That's the one I like the most. Just in the sense of I really strongly dislike.
Yep, strongly dislike.
I strongly dislike that in our everyday culture that we make it okay to not have knowledge. We make it okay
to be ignorant.
We make it okay to fight against each other. We make it okay to just go about life and not uplift each other. That is one of the most craziest things to do, especially in 2025. The craziest thing to do, because if you're working with me and I'm working with you, I'm uplifting your stuff and you are uplifting mine. I'm never going to take away from what she does. I'm not going to bow mouth what she does because she's also trying to win in this community just like I am. Why would we not work together?
But this is once again how deeply integrated that formation that they put on us is. Since we live in such a community, understanding you guys means individualistic, and society is built off individual, right? An Afrocentric community is built off of community. So that's how we're moving, right? Absolutely. So it makes sense what we doing. But imagine if you're having two other people here and there are two people on, and we're off balance. And that's what we're seeing in this world. And since it's been so integrated to be selfish or I get, you lose, people have this condition that, oh my God, if you get this, if you get 100K views and 500K subscribers and followers, I don't have anything. And it's like, whoa. No, Ubuntu, I am because you are. So you up, I'm up too. You got a blessing. I say to my friends all the time, when you get a blessing, God knocking on the door next to me.
Listen.
So I'm next. But it also takes an elevated way of thinking that way, right? Because that's an emotional maturity of you understanding that you're making the decisions in your life.
Right.
It's not just up to chance.
Yep.
And that's also what the foundation is. It's up to chance. You got to work hard. You got to play hard. You got to do this. No.
Yep. It's
not at all.
I know.
And to tie it into Phillis Wheatley, like I said that we were going to speak about before, you know how disgusted she'd be knowing, wow, my own kind is making me explain myself. That's what we're doing. We're all having Phillis Wheatley moments every single day, because now not only is it coming from our oppressors, it's coming from our community too. Let's use for an example, just a baseline easy example, social media. You got to do backflips and do the craziest things, or sell yourself, or do these low right things to just get likes. Come on. It's insane to me. Why are we forcefully giving ourselves, our own community, these Phillis Wheatley moments? It's so degrading. We are degrading ourselves.
And to piggyback off of that too, being in this field of work, doing anything social media, you guys got to understand that the content that you push out is being seen by people underage.
Come on.
You are setting a really bad example for them, because you're sexualizing everything that you do.
Come on.
Gang, I remember back when I was coming up and we were coming up and people were doing social media, they was never doing that.
No.
They were never doing anything like sexual to hurt, or anything harmful to hurt the society, because we know we're role models in these scenarios. You know what I'm saying? We have to be very conscious of how we're doing things nowadays, because everything is getting put online, and not everything needs to go online. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Not everything needs to be shown, because, again, we have kids, and these kids are going to grow up in this culture thinking that it's okay to be this type of way. How can you do that? And all of our ancestors right behind us paved the way for us to like that.
To have an afford an iPhone, y'all, to afford an iPhone, to have the content on our back. And honestly, I do hate when people do that too. Sometimes, like, oh, your ancestors, it could be annoying because you can feel like someone's dismissing your feelings. But also on the real tip, that's real. Point blank, period. Like, and I have to say it that way because sometimes I gotta speak in Ebonics. Sometimes I gotta speak real funny and slang for it to get through, because sometimes when you speak too serious, or like, do you guys get this? It goes in one ear and out the other, and you have to relate. You gotta say it in different formats, because this is for real. We have to be extremely grateful and extremely understanding of the blessings we have. And I understand that at times it can feel really hard, right? We go through tough times. We go through things where we feel like low, where we feel like things aren't working in our favor. Of course. I get
Absolutely.
it.
I do too.
I understand. It ain't always sunny. It's not sunny. However, understanding that your impact is real. Even if you don't think someone's seeing you, they're seeing you. You don't think somebody's watching you, they're watching you.
Yep.
You don't think somebody cares, or you're not influencing someone, you are. And the bottom line is, you might not like that, and you might not care, and you might not want to make that your responsibility. But regardless, if you're black, it is your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Point
Especially
blank.
if you claim being black, because that's the biggest thing right now. Everybody want to be black. But as soon as the shit hits the fan, excuse my language, but as soon as the stuff hits the fan, nobody's
It's done. Nobody's black no more.
So what's going on with that? And that's what I'm saying, like, being a part of that, and that's my goal right now, and I can see it's your goal too, to set the example and set the tone that this is how we are going to roll from now on.
Yes.
And this is how we are going to do things from now on.
Exactly.
Being the role models and the stuff that we do right now is going to shape how the future is going to go in a few years, very much so. And I'm so excited to even, that's why watching Stamped helps, because
You got to awaken your mind. You got to take
Gotta
the
do it.
you got to take the goggles off, and it's tough, it's rough, it's nasty. It's like, no way this is history, because how everyone moves, you would think that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that there wasn't trigger warning black women chained in basements just getting sexually assaulted just off the narrative if they just wanted to. What? Young little girls, black boys being, once again, trigger warning, being whipped to death, beaten to death by white women. Like, this, it's uncomfortable, it's hard, it's heavy, and some people would like to argue it's not our burden to have, but it is our responsibility to do the due diligence to the people that came before us and that had to go through those disgusting and horrible hardships to make it worth it.
Absolutely. Accountability is key.
So we gave y'all a lot, right?
Yeah.
We know it's hard. We know it's heavy. We know it's uncomfortable. But until these uncomfortable conversations are had, we're going to continue to be comfortable in a society that always wants us to feel uncomfortable. So let's start making people feel uncomfortable, okay? So let's talk about some actionable steps on what we can do and how we can regain our power back.
Honestly, I honestly really and truly want to start with I want to start with correct after school programs for black children. Having those, especially growing up when you know what I'm saying? I'm from New York and I'm from Boston. Like growing up in both areas, especially Boston, you had a Boys and Girls Club, you know what I'm saying? And that was the after school, and having a black community inside there and having mentors, teachers, and all those types of stuff in those areas was a big shape on every type of life. So I want to do that for when I get my type of platform. I want to make sure that all these kids have an understanding on what being black is, and what black power is. So that's the one step I definitely want to take for sure.
Yeah, and I think another step following that, just being a role model, but you can't be a role model for someone. You can't pour into someone's cup if you're not pouring into your own. So understanding that the power is in your voice, the power is in the personality, the power is in the talents and the gift that you have been given. And the sooner that you stop the self-deprecation, not that sounded harsh, but it's real. We all go through it. We all undersell ourselves. We all undervalue ourselves, thinking that'll either get us closer to our goal or make us more humble or just get us to where we need to go. Once you stop that and you live in yourself fully and you say, this is what I have, this is what I am, take it or leave it, we can start being influential and powerful role models for the future generations. Think about Malcolm X. You hear everybody say, "Oh, are you Martin Luther King or Malcolm X?" It matters, but it doesn't. But see the power in both figures, and just see how they both stood in themselves fully. They both could have caved and they both could have been this way or that way, but they chose to stick to their values. They chose to stick to who they were, and that's what we need to be taking from these powerful and influential black figures and activists, because those are the people that we need to understand truly shaped us for who we are now.
Yeah, absolutely true. And another one I definitely want to take the step in is the household stuff, because parents need to listen to this too, because they need to understand that you guys not having these uncomfortable conversations with your children is causing a lot of the effects that's happening now.
Yes.
And honestly,
of course.
And my mom and your mom did too. Like they all came out and was just like, yeah, they suppressed us. They did this, that, and the third. But what you can do is hold your head up high and keep going and work 10 times harder than what they're doing. And them informing us on other activists and other important figures in this life, people that's listening, people understand that you would think stuff like the stoplight, the stuff like the stop sign, and the stuff like all these other stuff that's in these everyday lives, you would think they're being made by white people, but they're being made by black people. And little do y'all know, your parents need to be telling you this too. And you know what I'm saying? It needs to tie into this stuff, because the curriculum in school, they don't teach us this. They teach us about, and I love Malcolm X, I love Rosa Parks, and I love, you know what I'm saying, Martin Luther
Those
King
are just the
Jr.
common people that they want to just. They're so y'all. They're so, I can't even dive into it because I'm not gonna speak about no one without doing a deep dive, and we are already deep into the episode. But they're missing out on key people, key figures that are actually did things. And if you guys listen to my last episode with Dr. Hack, we went into J. Marion Sims and how he used Black women to literally be the foundation of psychology. Not psychology, gynecology. They call him the father of gynecology. Meanwhile, he took 3 women, one of which was 17 and underage, and put them through countless just brutal procedures. And remember, y'all, they also don't think that Black people could feel pain. So it's just, there's so many figures, and there's so many people that made a change, made a difference, spoke up and did so many things, did and done because they're living through us, that we can't let that go to waste. We got to teach our children more than Rosa Parks, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth. Like, we got to teach them more people.
Yeah.
Because it's not just them. Ida B. Wells was crazy. She said, not on my watch. She said, y'all will not be hiding all of the lynchings and the killings that are happening all over the states. You know how powerful that's? One woman made sure she got every killing, every lynching. They didn't like that. Try to get her. And with doing this type of work, and I say work because it is work. You have to take the time to make yourself knowledgeable about this. Take your time to sit in it. It's almost just like healing work. You have to heal for your ancestors because pain is epigenetic, right? Epigenetics is literally your pain and the trauma stored within your body. The body keeps score. So we got trauma that don't got nothing to do with us. And you have to work through that. So doing this work and listening to these different teachings and listening to these different people really will help you become your best self and really will help you regain your power, will help you become a powerful mentor for generations after. And the last thing that I will really say is, not only challenge misinformation and challenge people when they try to say, oh, this and that. No, clock them. You should be educated enough. If somebody ever tries to misrepresent Black culture, Black power, Black figures, you should be able to tell them, no, that's not what really happened. Because guess what? These stories live through us. If we are not there to counter, clean, and actually educate, they're going to keep getting misinformed. They're going to keep getting misinformed. We're going to keep getting this negative thing of Black culture, which they try to perpetuate, and which they're winning, frankly, because as a community, we're not stepping up with, oh, she's too woke. Oh, they're too Black. Question mark. Weird, odd.
I don't like that because now I feel like I gotta dial myself back.
You speak too white. You speak too proper. You're too educated.
Like, I don't like that at all, D. Like, I genuinely don't. I do not like when people say that to me.
Y'all know he's serious when he say it like that.
Yeah, I don't, because every time I go into these rooms and I have to meet with other people, they respect you more by being yourself. And I learned that from my mother, because my mother, she don't have no filter. She don't have a code switch. She don't have none of that. And being with her helped shape me, because I don't know how to do that either. And actually I do, but I choose not to, because I know my worth, I know my power, and I know my knowledge. So that's why I don't do it. But when people try to force that on me, it makes me feel some type of way, because knowing that, again, people behind us, they fought for that. They fought for us to be in these rooms, to be able to voice ourselves and voice the Black people as a community in one room. They forced us to do this. And I feel like I'm letting them down by not holding myself up to the standard that I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, you got to think about it that way. Sometimes it sucks. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes you want to just conform, or sometimes you want to take the easy way out, or sometimes you just want to be quiet. Sometimes you don't want to be the only Black person in the room. Sometimes you don't want to be the only Black person in what you're pursuing. Sometimes you don't want to always just feel like Black is on you, and we know that that's a social construct. So sometimes you don't want to just be socially constructed. However, understanding the power within your voice, within your skin, within your energy, within your power, okay, is just so monumental that it can't be measured, and it literally can't even be put into words. So this is why investing in Black-owned businesses is important, investing in your youth, and most importantly, investing in you is the most important thing, because if you are not well, breathing, and doing what you need to do, you can't do nothing else.
I don't think people heard you on that one. I don't think they heard you.
You can't do nothing else. You cannot pour from an empty glass. You cannot teach from an empty mind. You cannot move. Think about it as a battery. If you empty, I know y'all got some dead batteries in a remote and you got to keep hitting it just to
Freeze
get it.
them.
Come on. Not freeze. See, now that was a piece of Black culture that all of us probably related to and we have no business relating to. But if you got to freeze your batteries and you got to freeze yourself, you need to take a moment, unwind, go take a nap, get 8 hours of sleep, eat some nutritious food, do something positive to get you recharged like a new pack of batteries, okay? Because we need all of us for this fight. This is a fight that's going on right now. It's getting real. It's getting serious. We need to all be on our P's and Q's, stay on our toes, because there's going to be a lot of things, as we're already seeing, being hit with us. We see DI, all of these things that we don't even need to go into. We need to stay vigilant and we need to stay strong.
Absolutely.
And we need to stay united.
Ooh.
We need to stay united. And I know there's going to be some people you may not like Shantasia. You might not like her, okay? Shoot, you might not even like me, but guess what? We need to fight. We need to get together, be unified, be educated, because that power is so unmatched that it transcends any negative entity that'll come through us.
Oh, yeah. We're stronger together than apart, because apart individually, we can hold a certain account and a certain frequency, but together it irritates the other ones. You know what I'm saying?
Collective consciousness. I will leave us out on this. It's think about, everyone close your eyes and think about a line of matches. All of the matches are lit up and then one match in the middle just slides down. Those other matches aren't lit anymore. It takes one person, but it also takes us being unified. You can look at it in the way of all of those matches lit that big fire and then the one match stopped it, or that fire had to be put out by that one match to create a long-lasting change. So whatever resonates with you, take it that way. But please tell us where to find you, because you led us to a powerful conversation. And to stay united, we all need to support. If y'all want to follow these celebrities that will never look at you as more than a like, everyone could support on here.
Honestly and truly, I definitely want to say that y'all can follow me. Wait, no, first of all, like, comment, and share, because that's the most important thing. If we don't do that, the message is no good. So do that first. But Instagram, TAYY.SSMOOTH, Tay Smooth. And on YouTube, you can follow me at Smooth TV, 2Vs. And TikTok, everything the same thing. So if y'all definitely want to follow the movement, be a part of the wave, I'm here for it.
Come on. And y'all already know we are now on Spotify. What a blessing. Okay, we are a one-woman show. So this month of March, you will be hearing all of my guest episodes in short form content, and you guys will be drowned with them because they were amazing. I just wrapped up one of my last applications for my post-grad program. So everyone, please send me your good juju and your good energy, okay? Because it's getting real for you, girl. We know I am a one-woman show, but we're still here. We're pushing on. We're bringing on powerful guests like Monte. Come on. So if you guys have not heard, again, please make sure you are following Power and Poise on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, so you guys can stay updated. Follow Tay Smooth on everything if you want to hear more about him and support his mission and support his path. And this was another episode of Power and Poise, where regaining your power and also staying poised is one of the best things you can do. And bye, guys. So good.
That was lit.
So good. Okay, let's runs to turn off audio.
Oh, that's getting. Trust me, that's getting reposted like 50 times. I don't care.